I'm here today not only as president of the 700,000 members of the Communication Workers of America, but as part of a broad citizens coalition with more than 30 million members, quite concerned about where we're going in this nation on trade as well as Fast Track or Trade Promotion Authority. When we come to see any of you in your offices, we're as likely to be there with Public Citizen or the Sierra Club or Food and Water Watch or a community organization as we are with the AFL-CIO. And it's in that spirit that I'm here today. We recognize that we are living in a global economy, but we must ensure that our trade framework serves our national goals and measure those results. We can't delegate the responsibility to achieve those goals to private or secret negotiations or appointed officials without meaningful democratic control. This hearing is timely, coming on the 20th anniversary of the North American Free Trade Agreement. As the administration seeks to negotiate two more massive trade pacts that would dwarf NAFTA, Congress must establish negotiating priorities and enforceable consultations by the administration. Key are the following. One, we must document that any new trade deal will not add to the nearly $1 trillion annual trade deficit. When do we start to measure the results of 20 years of these trade deals in Fast Track Authority? No other nation has trade deficits like this. And while we respect this body in deliberating over budget deficits, every economist, Economics 101 knows there's a direct relationship of trade deficits and budget deficits. Second, we must document the likely net effect on employment. These micro examples are wonderful and we applaud them. But what is the net effect? What has the net effect been of 20 years of these trade deals? What has happened to our jobs, our communities, the North Philadelphia that I grew up in, the Cleveland that I can picture right now, devastation throughout those communities, nowhere near the replacement in jobs for the more than 700,000 jobs lost from NAFTA alone. Even the Korea trade agreement that was supposed to bring new jobs, in fact, we've lost 40,000 more jobs since its passage. We could take micro examples like telecom equipment. There's no telecom equipment made in this country at all. And yet, what do we have today? What did we have when we grew up? We had Bell Labs. We had Western Electric. We had Lucent. Every one of those hundreds of thousands of jobs is gone, and yet we're the biggest consumer of those products. And yet China with state-owned enterprises, ZTE, Huawei, and European companies that are promoted by their nations, whether Alcatel or Siemens or Ericsson or Nokia, are thriving. We must document the effect on pay and the standard of living. Since NAFTA in these 20 years, average real take-home pay in the United States has declined more than $100. It's directly related. I could tell you story after story where CEOs say to me, it's gravity. We have to move the jobs or you have to cut the pay. And so we have high-tech jobs like internet help jobs at $10 an hour in Goldsboro, North Carolina. Can't raise the pay despite collective bargaining. We must ensure, fourth, that consumer protection regulations by federal, state, and local governments are not diminished. We're quite concerned about that in terms of the text that I've read on Trade Promotion Authority that we're considering here today. Most U.S. consumer groups are concerned that trade agreements can be used to degrade our food safety protection. Allowing for fast-track consideration of TPP would further jeopardize the safety of food consumed in the U.S. as food standards, country of origin labeling, and other laws could be undermined. Fifth, we must ensure that all trading partners comply with ILO principles and conventions. Most countries have ratified 8 core conventions. Sadly, the United States has only ratified 2. Amazingly, those conventions, child labor protection, freedom of association, require a 2/3 vote of this body. Yet this fast-track authority would provide that a multilateral trade bill covering 1 billion people would go through with a majority vote. We need to take those ILO conventions and put them in the fast-track authority. Sixth, we must ensure that environmental standards are not degraded and are enforceable. If recent leaks and news reports are correct, the USTR may be backing down on some key issues like internationally recognized pollution controls and logging regulations. We need to make improvements in global environment issues, not negotiating a retreat. Seventh, we should ensure that social goals on the environment, labor rights, consumer protection are enforceable, at least at the same level as other sections. We cannot have a democratic society if corporations have access to superior remedies to address their concerns. And finally, we must ensure that Congress plays a meaningful role. We applaud those members of the committee that have written to the USTR demanding exactly that. Thank you.